Hi everyone and welcome to the video. So in this one we're going to talk to you about the different subscriptions there are to UK charge point operators. So that is a bit of a mouthful, but essentially the petrol brand. So the EV charging brand, some of them offer subscriptions to lower the cost of the price per unit of electricity, which is a kilowatt hour. So some of them, the raw price might be 85p, it might be 89p, or it might be 74, or it might be a lot lower. But if you promise to give them some of your hard-earned pounds per month, they will reduce that fee. And so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you the break-even cost for each one of those. And so we'll go through a few that I've got up on my screen. ZapMap's not one, but I'm using that as a background for now because I intend to find more about ZapPay. I've never used that. So it's not an advert for them, or at least they're not paying me to advertise it. And the first one, which I'm not sure I recommend because I'm not sure I recommend this brand at all, is a petrol provider, BP Pulse. So BP Pulse will charge you £7.85. Let's find that up here. £7.85 of your English pounds to reduce your costs by 20% each time you charge. So if you're a fleet user, if you're driving up and down the motorways every day doing hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of miles a year, this might be something that you would do. And they bought out a network called Charge Master or Charge Your Car, and so there's quite a few of these initially in the beginning, although not so many now compared to the expansions of other brands. And so instead of paying 87p, you would pay 69p. So that is a saving of what I think 17p. And so I worked out you would need to charge 43 kilowatt hours to break even on that. So if you're going to add 43 kilowatt hours to your car or more a month, then that would be worth it. You would break even. So if you're going to charge more on that, save. If you don't, there you go. But you are locked into using this BP Pulse brand, which I don't necessarily recommend you do, although they are buying these units now, which are Alpitronic units, which are much more reliable and quite fast. These are up to 300 kilowatts. So that's BP Pulse. Fastned, or the fast charging network of the Netherlands, Fast Netherlands, because that's where they originate from, also have one. I think these are really reliable. They have auto charge features on their car, so if you save your car in the app, you've got your payment details in there, and you do a little scenario, they will auto charge. You just plug it in, it starts charging. Well, hey, especially if you've got this membership off. So in the UK, they've put their prices up recently. Whoops, it used to be 65p or 69p, and now it's 74p. But they will give you 30% off if you give them £9.99. And so I worked out what that break-even point would be, and that's 45 kilowatt hours. But I like them because I think they're very reliable. They're always very good. There's always quite a few of them, and they're always quite fast. So yeah, I would really recommend Fastned. I've got a video of going to the Fastned chargers in Hamilton Palace, which is just south of Glasgow on the main road there. So check that video out here, as well as all the local ones, because there's loads of Fastned chargers here in the northeast of England. So that's Fastned. So yeah, a more expensive one at a tenner. Yeah, the 45 kilowatt hours is quite a lot, so that's 3/4 of my battery. But if you're going to be doing a lot of journey in Europe, might be one that you want to consider, because you get a 30% discount. That's quite good. Ionity are one of the original ones that did one of these subscriptions, and they're one of the original brands to go quite expensive at 74p. So that would definitely be more than petrol if you were charging a car with that. But for the low price of £7 for the first month or £10.50 thereafter, you can get the price down to 43p, which is definitely cheaper than petrol. So that might be interesting to you, and the more you charge, the more it will definitely be on the cheaper end. So I've calculated for both these. For the first month, if you're taking the Passport Power, you're taking the bigger subscription, then for the first month you only need to charge 22 kilowatt hours to break even on that £7 versus paying 74p. So that's quite good. But if you're going to carry on after the first month, that's £10.50. So that's going to be a bit higher, and it's going to be 33 kilowatt hours. Still not that much. What about the halfway subscription or the lower subscription model? You're only going to pay $388. Well, in that case, you only need to charge 18 kilowatt hours. That's really not very much. And I heard a couple of years ago that the average charging session was only 19 or 20 kilowatt hours. So you've only got to charge once to make that work for you. But if it's the higher £5.50 instead, £5.49, then it's going to be 26 kilowatt hours to charge to break even. So yeah, I would really recommend Ionity. There's quite a few different locations around the country. There's more coming all the time. There's one that come to Stockton-on-Tees, Portrait Lane in the A19 very shortly. There's going to be 20. There's always quite a lot. They're always very fast. They did have reliability issues in the beginning, but I think they're using less of the Australian brand that went bust these days, so I think they're much more reliable. And they've got a good app. You'd have to charge through the app to get your discount. They do have a similar system to Fastned. Fastned is called AutoCharge. Ionity's is called Plug and Charge. Different software, same utility. You plug your car in, it remembers your credit card, save on the car or something, and it just works. Brilliant. What's next? Well, Charge Anywhere. So this is a cross-brand platform. This is what used to be called Bonnet. So Bonnet did really low prices if you subscribe to them, or if you just download their app and use that promote to get themselves a name. And then they sold themselves to OVO Energy, so they could compete with Octopus Electroverse. And so what they've got is a really low price subscription. So the really low price is only £2 a month, but you're only going to get 10% off. So small monthly payment, small discount. But £2 isn't bad, is it? And it's across all of the charging on their network. So any chargers that are on there. And that's you only need to charge 25 kilowatt hours to break even on that £2. So that's one largest charge, really. Well, it's small in the big deal of it, but large compared to the average. But you can turbo boost that to 4 times the price at £8 a month, and you'll only get 15% off. And so instead of only having to charge 25 kilowatt hours to break even on that, you've got to charge 66 kilowatt hours to break even on this. I'm really not sure what the argument is to go for the higher boost. You've got to be a really high mileage user and using the public chargers quite a lot, I think. And most people who get an EV will have a home charger, so not sure it really pays off that much at a high price to get almost no benefit versus the other one. So yeah. Plugsurfing do a similar thing. Plugsurfing are advertising that they're saving a lot. You can show you their discount and blah, 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 blah. And they've got these 3 people here doing it. And so what they're saying is that you can have 20% off with Plugsurfing through Connected Curb, Fuse, Mer, Ionity, Instavolt, Osprey. If you only give them £6.99 per month. So I worked out at £6.99 on an Osprey charger at 85p that you would need to charge 40 kilowatt hours to break even on that £6.99. And I think you'll probably save more the more expensive charger you use rather than a cheaper one. I think that's probably how the maths works out. So, but it's about 40 kilowatt hours that you need to do, or one reasonably big charge of your battery. And Connected Curb do overnight charging, so if you don't have a home charger at home, then actually that might work out okay, because you might be doing longer charges of your battery, because rather than sitting there and waiting for it to finish, or finishing a meal at a rapid charger, you might just be leaving a sort of little lamp post overnight near your house, potentially. That's how it might be used. So that might be a good option for you. So what's the last one that we could talk about? Well, the last one that I can think of is Tesla superchargers. You can get membership to Tesla as a non-Tesla driver. So most of us would go for the more expensive option, as in we would be not a member as a non-Tesla owner, but allowed to use certain superchargers that are open to non-Teslas. And we would pay their higher price. And the price differential, I think, varies per each charger, depending on supercharger, depending on like the demand and stuff like that, and how much Tesla want to discourage non-Teslas to use them, would depend on the cost. But Google AI tells me that London Superhill Supercharger charges 47p for Teslas and for members, and 63 for non-members. And I think they recently closed this one to non-Tesla chargers because it was blocking up their Tottenham Hale service centre with everyone trying to get in there and stuff. So I worked that one out. So that's £8.99 for that, £8.99 for a membership, or £90 annually. So you save a bit if you say I'm going to do it for a whole year. And that would be 56 kilowatt hours for the £8.99. I didn't do the annual one, but perhaps I could. I'm not sure what that would come out as. But yeah, you'd need about 56 kilowatt hours to break even on that. So yeah, let me know what you think of that. So you might want to, if you're going on a big journey and you know you're going to do more rapid charging. Certainly, my charging at home is the vast majority is just on my charging for my car, because I've got a home charger. The vast majority, it's over 90%. It's more like 95, if not even 100%, is just on my home charger. So I only need to do these if I'm going on a big holiday, or if I'm going on a super long journey where I'm going to need to charge at least one big one, if not two, to make any of these worth it. It'll depend on your situation, how much driving you do outside of the range of your car, about whether these would make sense to you. But I've given you all the tools to figure out if they're going to work for you, and the different break-even points versus just paying the naked price, or the higher price with no subscription. So you've got to really, if you're going on a big journey, see which brands are about, see which one of these would work for you. Would one brand do? And then you might want to stick to, say, Ionity, because they have the lowest break-even costs. Or if you're going to have to brand hop, or if you just want the flexibility to be able to brand hop, then maybe something like Ovo or Plugsurf would be for you. Okay, all right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the next one. If you want a £5 off Ionity, because as I've shown you, they're so expensive, then please do see my referral code in the link below. If you want a £5 on Octopus Electroburst, there's no subscriptions. But if you have a home charger, you get 5 or 8% off, depending on what tariff you're on. Then you see my Octopus Electroburst subscription referral code below. And if you want to change your energy provider, I've got an Octopus Energy referral code below. You get 50 quid off, and their bills are kind of very competitive versus anyone else. Anyway, you get 50 quid off, I get 50 quid off, we both win. And the final thing would be e-waste is a huge issue. When your phone breaks, you'll send it off to the insurer. They'll fix it, but they'll send you a new one. And then we've got a fixed phone that would otherwise go to the bin and go and have to be recycled. So they are often resold, and they'll be resold by mobile repairers on back market. So you can get huge discounts off those because they've been repaired, they're pre-loved, but they're often in excellent condition. So you can get a tenner off by using my code below, and I get a tenner as well, I think. So that's amazing. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.